It's swami time. It's swami time. It is week 2 swami time. Hey Family Feud, what's up? Swami here, coming to you for a little bit of week 2 swami action. A little bit early, just because I'm heading up to the White River for some trout fishing and anniversary weekend. So I want to do a quick recap of the week 1s, hit some of the high points, talk a little bit about the week 2 matchups. I'll probably add something later in the week, maybe, just because it's going to change with waiver wire tonight. But I wanted to go ahead and get out there, get ahead of this thing, and put something on file for you. So without any more ado, let's get into week 2. All right, the first week 1 matchup that I want to talk about is Boats and Hose at Raging Rabbis. And this game was really all over the place. I mean, Boats takes down the victory 99.5 to 89. He has to feel extremely fortunate to get the victory here. Basically, he pulls it out with a absolutely massive performance by Josh Allen on opening night. Gets a really good defensive performance. So, 50 of his points come from his quarterback and his defense. Other than that, the rest of the lineup was kind of a disaster week. Najee Harris gets hurt. Elijah Mitchell gets hurt, gone for most of the season. T. Higgins gets knocked out. So he's got a lot of work to do to get ready for week 2. On the other side, Rabbi's basically same thing. I mean, he outperforms Boats at the running back position and the wide receiver position. That typically spells a victory, but he got murdered at the quarterback position because Dak got eaten up by Tampa Bay and then ultimately ended up getting hurt. Gets 7 points. So he gets outscored by 30 at the QB position. And he's got some bright spots on his team, but he's going to have to shore that up, obviously. We should see that with waiver wire. He definitely needs some help with his flex play. George Pickens probably not going to get it done. So he's got a lot of room to work with salary-wise because he's got a couple of trash players on his bench that are $700,000. Still hasn't really learned the concept of stashing $300,000 players to make his lineup better. We'll see if he gets that fixed finally. Done better. The lineup looks better. And I expect his team to be okay once he gets a little bit of help there. Boats is going to be super active tonight on the waiver wire. And, he's got Allen. He's got a lot of work to do. But fortunate to get the victory in week. Okay, in our second look-back game, we'll talk about Young Guns at Hold My Beer. Inaugural game for JC. Young Guns, tried and true. Already looking like a vet. Tough week for him, though. And it started early in the week. He had injuries in practice, navigating salary cap issues. He gets blindsided by Cam Akers on week 1. All the prognosticators had Cam being pretty good, and he just got axed by Sean McVay. So he's going to have to fix that, obviously. Nico Collins as his flex play. He didn't want to do that. Got, Rondale Moore hurt him late in the week with an injury. Irv Smith Jr. coming back, getting 0 points. So taking 2 zeros in his lineup and only throwing 87 points. Not his best effort. I expect him fully to fix that. Hold My Beer. Hey, 109 in his first game ever. Gets solid performance from Kyler. Christian McCaffrey, not a great performance, but good, 13. David Montgomery was awful. Josh Jacobs, not much better. His receivers really held him up, and they look strong. Devontae Adams and Jalen Waddle, those are going to be nice pieces that he gets good scoring from throughout the year. I don't think he caught enough shit for starting an inactive tight end in Kyle Rudolph, so let's make sure and let him know about that. But 16 points from his Dolphins defense. He's got to feel good. He starts off 1-0, and he's off and running. Okay, in our third recap, it was a fun one. Usually is Nerd Puppets at Orange Crush. Nerd Puppets 98 to Orange Crush 107.5. Start with the Nerds. Obviously didn't get the game out of Brady that he wanted with only 14 points, but they didn't have to do a whole lot. They kind of bludgeoned them with the run game. Brady managed it. They bogged down in the red zone quite a bit. You expect a little bit better from him. The issues with Nerds going forward are going to be, he's got some usage issues with his running backs. Aaron Jones, splitting time with A.J. Dillon, and then Breece Hall. He had in as his flex. Michael Carter kind of looked like the one there. Austin Eckler, he's going to be fine going forward. But, hey, he's really picked up for it with his wide receivers. Michael Pittman Jr. and Jamar Chase, wow. Well, we said it in the pre-Swami that those two were going to be dynamite, and they were. He kind of got blindsided by Kittle being a late scratch late in the week, having to throw in Ian Thomas, but kudos to nerds. Ian Thomas catches a 50-yard pass during the game, ends up with 6 points. Not bad with a last-minute replacement for the salary that he had him for. So, Nerds should be fine. It'll be interesting to see if he goes with Brady going forward with some other names like, Wentz and Russell Wilson, some of the other stuff that's out there. Kirk Cousins on the wire. So, I'll be following that. Crush, we knew she's going to have a good team. She had a lot of early picks, and she performed 107.5. Dameon Pierce didn't get the usage. That was the guy that kind of needed to make her team go. Only ended up with 3.5 points. I expect him to get more going forward, but Rex Burkhead did steal from him in week 1, so we'll see what happens there. Herbert was a stud. Dalvin Cook looked great. Leonard Fournette looked great. Tyreek Hill looked great. Elijah Moore's going to be fine. 7 targets, missed on a couple of opportunities by Flacco. And then, obviously, she wins the game with Kelsey. She gets a 17-point advantage over Ian Thomas. It's going to happen every week. She's going to have an advantage. That's why she took him early, and it is a big advantage in fantasy, especially if you're a team that has trouble with tight ends and you're streaming them or looking for a touchdown every week. It's so hard to play against a team like her because she gets a 10 or 15-point advantage every single week. So hats off to Crush. She wins in the annual grudge match with Nerd Puppets, and they'll meet again, but round 1 this year goes to Crush. Game 4 recap. Rebel Scum at Triple T's. So, start with Rebel Scum. We kind of knew after the draft, this team looks like a team, almost like a dynasty build, where you a lot of players that maybe it's not going to happen until later in the season, but you got some good production out of these guys. Derek Carr looked good with his new weapon. He had fun with Devontae Adams. Rashad Penny, got some touches. Singletary looked okay. Neither one of them scored. They both looked pretty good, though. Tony Pollard, who knows? Dallas is a dumpster fire all over the place. Everybody has Dallas players is just run right now. Cortland Sutton looked good in the game. Once again, didn't score. But my God, Justin Jefferson. Honestly, her team looks like a one-man show right now. She's got a lot of players that maybe could do something, but it's going to all have to mesh week to week. It just doesn't look good for a season-long campaign. But, Ramondre Stevenson maybe has a chance now moving up with Ty Montgomery being out as the pass-catching back in New England. Isaiah Pacheco in trash time looked fantastic behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so he could be a piece maybe that comes around. It's just going to be hard every week for her to score. But, God, Justin Jefferson, what a piece. Looks like the best receiver in the league. I saw him as a number 1 overall draft pick in some leagues, and, man, he really showed why in that first one. So 95 points, not terrible. I just think she's going to have a tough time week to week unless everything gels just correctly on it. Triple T's, our defending champ, picked up right where he left off. Got huge performances. Mahomes was like a cheat code in that game. It felt like he could have scored as many as he wanted to against Arizona. Saquon, man, he looks like Saquon of old again. Ripped off a huge 68-yard run. He scored a touchdown. He got a 2-point conversion. They used him in the passing game. The only thing that's going to hold him back is a Giants team that, could be really bad. Javonte Williams, 11 catches out of the backfield. Of course, that's not going to happen every week, but man, if they start using him like that, that's like Alvin Kamara type of production. He's still going to have to contend with Gordon there, but boy, he looks good and he looks the part. Mike Williams was a head scratcher, but you expect him to get elevated now that Keenan Allen is hurt. And then Cooper Kupp, he just picked right up where he left off. He has tunnel vision. Stafford has tunnel vision for him. Even the bench players for Triple T's did good. Jahan Dotson, 2 touchdowns. McCole Hardman, touchdown. Romeo Doubs, leading receiver for Green Bay, even though it was only 6 points on it. Kyle Pitts is the question. Head scratcher. You just don't know why Atlanta doesn't use the guy. We'll see what happens there on it. But resounding victory, highest point total of the week for Triple T's. And looks good. Looks like he has a chance to defend if he stays healthy. And in our Game 5 Game of the Week look back, we had Sam Houston's Hellraisers at the Heiser Bombs. Good game. It kind of went to plan on how we called that one. Sam Houston, we said, Swami said, best draft, deepest team. Looks like he had players all over the place. That's exactly what happened in the game. Got a big performance from Jalen Hurts, and man, does that look like a good piece? That's going to be a really good offense this year, and Jalen Hurts is going to be a weapon. Add DeAndre Swift into that, who looks amazing. Jonathan Taylor, who's the number 1 pick. Man, those 3 right there are going to win him so many games this year, which honestly really makes him look like the favorite with that big 3 right there. Travis Etienne, they used him a little bit. Not really like he wants him to see because James Robinson was so good in that game. But Mike Evans is going to be just fine with Chris Godwin getting hurt. CeeDee Lamb, he's going to have to keep an eye on that. I mean, he's still going to be the one in Dallas. He's got Cooper Rush throwing to him. They're going to have to get him the ball somehow. They're going to probably be playing in a negative game script game after game, playing from behind. So I expect him to be good. Maybe just not how he envisioned it with Dak throwing to him, being ahead with a running game. I think they're going to load up on the run. And, it's going to be tough for all of the Cowboys players, like I said before. And then Hawkinson, who knows? I mean, if he's happy with this 5, he's got enough firepower on the rest of his squad that all he has to get is something from Hawkinson. I was a little surprised to see Green Bay as his choice as a defense because he had Pittsburgh. Green Bay gets 1 point, Pittsburgh gets 18. If he starts Pittsburgh's defense, he ends up the week as the high scorer. Just Cincinnati's O-line is pretty bad, and Burrow gets pressured so much. I kind of expected him to put Pittsburgh in there, but either way, 119 points, great week out of Sam to get the win. Heiserbaum's, I wasn't as high on his team as he was. It kind of showed through in this week's score. Zeke did nothing against a good Tampa Bay defense. Nick Chubb looked great. That looks like the high piece of his offense. Lamar Jackson's going to be fine, but just doesn't have a ton of options to throw to. We kind of knew that going in. Keenan Allen gets hurt. That's going to be a blow. He's going to have to fill that gap as he nurses a hamstring going forward. And then Michael Thomas. He didn't look like he was going to do anything throughout the game, and then bam, he scores twice late in the game as they're playing catch-up. Jameis goes into a spread offense. He has to quit reading defenses and just kind of starts reacting, and all of a sudden they start moving the ball, and Thomas looks fantastic. He looked like the Michael Thomas of old. Looks like he's got his explosiveness back, and he's a big-time red zone target. Deontay Johnson's going to have trouble, I think, because Trubisky sucks for them. He's going to get his targets, get his catches, but who knows if it's going to be anything more than just possessions type stuff. Waller had a good game for him. So Heiserbaum's got a little bit of work to do on the waiver wire, and I don't see this being a terribly explosive team. It's going to be a good team. It's going to be a high-scoring team. He's going to put up a good number every week. But he's got some issues, with Dallas and Zeke and then some of the other problems that he has. I don't see a ton on his bench other than Drake London looked pretty good for Atlanta. Once again, though, he's hamstringed by Mariota throwing him the ball. So we'll see how he adjusts to that. It's just week 1. Don't want to overreact on it, but it's kind of what I saw coming from that team. But big win for Sam in the game of the week, and be interesting to see how these guys adjust. So there's all our recaps from those games. I'm going to do something a little bit different here just because waiver wire hasn't run yet and I haven't seen the full lineups and what's going to happen with the week. So, hey, it's been a while since we've brought this feature out, but to do the picks for this week, for week 2, we're going to go fun with pictures for week 2 and maybe add some blurbs later in the week from the river up there. So, fun with pictures. So our first contest here is Rebel Scum at Hold My Beer. Moving on to Triple T's at Raging Rabbis. Game 3, Young Guns at the Nerd Puppets. Followed by Heiserbaum's at Orange Crush. And in our game of the week, Boats and Hose at Sam Houston's Hellraisers. So there you have it, guys. Week 2, Swami, and hope you enjoyed. It was fun. Had a lot of fun doing it. So there it is, guys. Swami's out!